Thank you, Mr. President. Italy welcomes this opportunity to discuss Resolution 76262 and its implementation 2 years after its adoption under the agenda item Use of the Veto. This discussion is particularly timely given the continuing attacks against the UN multilateral system and the multiple crises the world is facing. In this context, we wish to reiterate that the veto power of permanent members in the Security Council remains part of the problem, and this year's record of 9 vetoes cast in the Council in the period under consideration, which is 3 times the vetoes cast in the same period last year, confirms our convictions in this regard. Italy was among the co-sponsors of Resolution 76262. We are of the view that the mechanism established by the resolution has contributed to strengthening the UN system by convening this assembly automatically every time a veto is cast. It increases transparency and accountability. Its activation in the last 12 months, in particular with regard to vetoes cast in relation to the 3 of the situations that most endanger international peace and security, confirms its importance. We also welcome its subsidiary nature with respect to the Uniting for Peace resolution mechanism, which continues to be a valuable instrument in ensuring political action by the United Nations with regard to the complex security crisis under its consideration. Mr. President, the veto power is anachronistic. While understandable in the specific historical context of 1945, nowadays it blatantly contradicts one of the fundamental principles of the UN Charter, that of sovereign equality of states. In too many occasions, it has prevented the Security Council from discharging its vital responsibilities with regard to situations endangering international peace and security, in which the UN could have made a real difference on the ground. Any credible reform of the UN Security Council must depart from this awareness and build a system that is more democratic, representative, transparent, effective, and accountable. I was struck to hear this morning one delegation suggesting that on the reform of the UN Security Council, the negotiating group that I coordinate and represent is using a sort of hidden veto in order to obstruct the passage to text-based negotiations. I take issue with this allegation, which is both misleading and hypocritical on at least 3 accounts. First, Uniting for Consensus is in favor of a TBN as soon as a convergence on the reform model matures. Second, many negotiating groups believe that conditions are not there yet for TBN. And third, and last but not least, the delegation that argues that we use a hidden veto on TBN is asking for a permanent seat with a veto for itself. For the time being, we are under no illusions that the P5 will renounce to this privilege under the Charter, and their position in this respect is fully guaranteed by the amendment procedure under Article 108. However, we ask and expect them to act responsibly and to provide a full explanation to the whole membership represented in the General Assembly when they cast a veto. Such expectation is largely shared by the UN membership, judging from the consensual adoption of the resolution and by the large participation in the meetings that have been convened on its basis. We also call for the proper and long overdue implementation of Article 27.3 of the UN Charter, which provides for the obligation to abstain in a vote dealing with a dispute to which the member of the Council is party. Such obligation applies to permanent and non-permanent members alike. We also wish to take this opportunity to reiterate our strong support for the current initiatives seeking to limit the exercise of the veto, in particular the French-Mexican initiative and the ACT Code of Conduct. Mr. President, the global challenges ahead of us, be it in the field of peace and security, sustainable development, climate action, and human rights and rule of law, need a strong multilateral response based on the rules-based international order that all too often is misinterpreted and disrespected. Let us take today's opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to an effective, democratic, and inclusive multilateral system in which effective decision-making is not undermined by the narrow national political agendas of a few. I thank you.